again, you can use any oil for this. Some people swear by sunflower oil, some people swear by canola oil, others want peanut oil, others. You can also mix in different types of oils. Some people say you have to have coconut oil or, the new kind of soaps and fragrances and I don't know. The one thing that I would caution folks is that, remember when we did it last time, and I did tell you guys that, people start putting in those essential oils.
Yeah.
And because the smell of the birch can be quite harsh, right? And people say, well, I want to make it smell nice. But that kind of defeats the whole purpose of the skin condition, because if you have eczema, you're going to, those essential oils will make it trigger it, will make it even worse. So if you're making a cream or a soap to treat it, and then you add essential oils to it, it kind of defeats the whole purpose. This is one that I had an elder make for me, because he said, this is to make square bars, and then I just landed up with parchment paper because it's easier to pop out, right? Once the emulsification, the saponification happens, and you'll see very quickly how it happens. I just pour it in the mold, and you leave it in the mold for 24 hours. Pop it out tomorrow morning, and what I tell people is pop it out, cut it into bars, and let them cure, which means basically put them in a place where there's going to be air circulation, in a nice, cool, dry place, and let them cure for about 6 to 8 weeks. The longer you cure them, the harder the soap will become, and it will last longer. You ever go into a place where you bought some soap and they just turn to mush right away? That means they haven't been cured enough. What you're basically doing is curing, is making the water extract from it and then shrinks the soap. Plus, if there's any leftover lye that's not active, it'll take that time to deactivate it so it won't burn, right? And you would add it according to what percentage strength you want. For this soap, this is the lab said that is between 0.2 and 2% is sufficient to kill all the bacteria. It becomes an antibacterial soap. So I normally suggest between 5 and 10%. Plants have different ways of how seeds are dispersed, right? To make sure, so the spotted touch-me-nots, they explode and send out a force to scatter the seeds away. Other plants, you see them, they'll fall down, and that's how they, spread the seeds somewhere else, right? Others use birds, others use bees, insects to disperse the seeds widely. You ever see those old Western TV shows where the tumbleweed goes, right? Well, that's how the tumbleweed, the Russian thistle, spreads its seeds. The wind picks it up and rolls it, and the seeds are scattered way, way far. And so Glooskap had a bet with the loons, who can drive longer, right? So the loon is one of the seabirds that dives and stays under for a long, long time. It can hold its breath for one of the longest times, but it has to come back up. So, and Glooskap, when this fight was, when they went down, it wasn't a loon, but it was another like a spirit, changed himself to a shapeshifter to a loon, and Glooskap went down, and the loon couldn't hold his breath and eventually died and popped up to his dead. Right? And then the other time that they had a contest who was able to withstand who can grow the longest, so Glooskap turned himself into a quote, which is a pine tree, and the other fellow turned himself into a maple tree. And they both grew, but then the wind came along, and if you know, hardwood trees have a lot of leaves and limbs, and whereas pine trees, if you really think about it, they have no lower branches. All the branches die, and it's only the top ones. You get them right, so the wind comes and pushes down the maple tree, and the blue scalp won this thing again. Gamuji jabi. This is used for basketry. There's Mi'kmaq people will use this for their hoops and handles in the baskets. And in a pinch, they can use the strips as baskets. But Mi'kmaq people prefer whisko for the strips. Whisko, which basically means it's easy. And the reason why it's easy, whisko really is a nice growing tree, grows straight. One of the difficulties with Gamuji jabi is that how you want, if you're going to use it as a strips or handles, you have to make sure that the grain is straight. So what we would do is that when we would go and get it, we'd take a little piece off and tear it down to strips. And if the bark went this way curved, then the grain was also curved. It wasn't going to be a good basket strip.